Hey there, lads and lasses. Welcome to Friday. For some of you in different time zones, it's already been Friday. I don't think we have anybody in any time zones that are further west than myself. I'm out here on the edge of the world. It is, of course, a little bit past 11, and that can only mean that it's time for some Buffooncraft SMP. And right away, Buffoons and friends are logging in. We already have Cheska's already here, Sage is here, and Tone is here lurking. Appreciate the lurk, Tone. You guys can see the auto shoutouts for our friends there. Please go check them out when you get a chance. One Player Gamer! OPG! OPG's here. OPG, how come there's not an auto shout out for you? I have to add you to that list. I thought I did, but there, you get the special manual shout out. For which I have to type, which I don't do that for everybody, my friend. Only because I hate typing. These are not designed for typing. They're designed for smashing. So I hope you're all enjoying your Friday. Now, a little bit of setup for today's stream. Usually when I build on stream, the way I go about it is I have a build design most of the time. And then I like to just build that design on stream, on the server, and just have it hopefully reveal itself as I build it, right? And I don't plan on changing that anytime soon on a regular basis, but because I like just a build unfolding like that, you know. It adds a little suspense or whatever, right? But this time we're going to deviate from that a little bit. This time I'm going to show you the build design first. And there's a couple of tweaks I need to finish up on it, so I'm going to do that in the creative test world first and get it functioning exactly the way I intend. No 3-act structure. No, sir. And so from there, yeah, I'm going to reveal the build first, and then we'll go about building it. So I think I'm going to do it in that way, just for this time. And the reason I'm going about it that way is I think it's going to be funnier that way. I think the impact of the build, I think it's more amusing if it's delivered all at once instead of slowly progressing, right? So without further ado, let me pull that up. So we're actually going to Generations right now, the Generations test world. And I'll switch over to the display screen in a moment here. By the way, for those of you who celebrate it, happy Valentine's Day. Let's see. Should be okay here. Good Lord. Okay. Oh, all right. That's right. Okay. I'll switch over in just a moment here. Let me do this. There we go. I think it works like this. There we go. Okay. Now I can bring you guys in here. Now I think I'm ready for you. this side. Okay, yeah, I think it'll do something like this. Okay. Display scene right there. Welcome to the silliest iron farm you've probably ever seen. It's very silly. So you can see I've gone with a vertical design. And so we have our little drown here. And he goes up, and as he swings on by, he'll zip on up to the top here. He'll come on down, and then he slows down, and he'll scare the bejesus out of these guys here. And they'll spawn an iron golem. And then he drops back down to the bottom, spins around, and does it all over again. So, all right, let's switch this over to nighttime so you guys can see this actually spawn the golems. That's where we need to go here, and we need to go time, set, and let's go for midnight so our little friends will sleep. And you can see that they're all cozy in their little beds there until they have a night visitor who wakes them up. And they spawn an iron golem, and then this thing catapults him out of the detection range and into the liquidator. Right? Once again, wakes them up, comes around, shoots on up, comes on down like this, drops by, wakes them up. Oh wow, he took a hit from that too. All right. There's a few changes we still need to make to this, to a couple of redesigned features. The golem gets yeeted. Yes, in the silliest way. Oh, the honey blocks to slow it down. Right. The problem, see, what I wanted was to have it do a scare on the way up and a scare on the way down. But the water stream, shooting him past the water stream, is just so darn fast that it just wasn't scaring them. It's just too quick. And there's no way, I tried every way possible to slow down the bubble vader going past Honeyball, everything. It just wouldn't. So I had to just be satisfied with having them do the scare on the drop, because this doesn't need a water stream. It just does gravity, right? But that's enough. It's a 30-second cycle. This is cycling every 16 seconds, so it's short enough to complete the cycle. Unless you build a zigzag on each floor. Yeah, and I did consider that, right? I did consider having it come up, come across, go up, come across, go up. I was, I don't know, I kind of like having the loop though, right? And plus that extends the time too. So, this is tweaked to complete the cycle in just the optimal amount of time. It's a pretty tricky thing to do. The loop looks much better, and you're right, it does. So at least it does, in my opinion. And perfect efficiency is not required, especially not with this farm, right? The idea of this farm is for it to be silly, right? Right into that. Right? But of course, it being, a silly iron farm, I do want to get as much out of it as I possibly can. But, maximum efficiency iron farm, I could just go use the one over at Skipton. If I really need that much iron. I really don't need that much. This will be my personal iron farm over on the base. There's a couple of things that I want to change. I want to have the loop be in the... which way am I facing right now? Oh, I can see over here. South, right? So that's I want it to be in the XY plane. So I want to rotate it 90 degrees. And so I'm thinking of rotating it in this direction. Having him come up through here, and then drop down through there, and then that way they only see him in one spot there, and they're not exposed to him twice. There's a couple of reasons. You can see that these guys, there's really no practical way and no aesthetically pleasing way I can keep these guys out of range of the drown. And you see that guy just took a hit from them. Eventually he'll be converted into a zombie, convert the other guys into a zombie, and yeah, and there's no really clear way of doing that and keeping him out of the way there. See, look, he's a sucker for punishment. Look, just come by and hit me anytime. Masochist. So if I do this, they're still in full view, and this will keep them away and stuff. And I just like to have the whole cycle in the same plane. I'm going to have this be the front of the farm. Originally, this was the front of the farm, but just design-wise, the whole thing kind of laid itself out eventually in this kind of manner. And so I think having it in this plane is a little bit better, because you could just drop the iron golems out of range. But and that's the point, right? I could just drop them through. Having them drop, though, drops them into the detection zone of the other ones. So Nova and I were looking at it, and we were trying to figure out a way around that. But afterwards, I came up with the idea of just bouncing them off of the slime block catapult like this. Originally, I was going to have portals here, and I was going to yeet them into the nether, but it's way sillier to do it this way. So this thing is so fun to watch. I catch myself just sitting here and just watching it for minutes at a time, just doing its thing. Spawns a dude out here. He drops down. Wah! And then he goes out. It's just, here goes the other one. But yeah. And it has decent rates. It really does. Considering it's not really built for optimum efficiency, the rates of this thing are pretty good. I haven't measured them lately because I've made several changes to them, and I still have to make more changes, but yeah. And of course, the farm can be turned off too. All you really need to do is go flick off the power source. When he drops down, he'll just stay right there until you turn it back on, and then the loop starts again. Also, if I need to increase the frequency of the loop, I can just add another drown and another minecart, right? And I can just time it and wait for them to reach the halfway point in the cycle, and then start the other one and have the two of them going around on the loops. Hopefully they won't go out of phase and run into each other at some point, because you can't ever really time it exactly so they'll stay. I think it's a 16-second cycle, so 8 seconds apart. You can't get it exactly at 8 seconds, so it'll be a little bit early or a little bit late, and that means that the period of the node will overlap at some point, and they'll collide with each other, right? Starting with 2 might be a touch tricky. Yeah, it's very, very tricky, right? So the other thing is I could have 2 independent loops. I could do that too, but I think it's getting a little cluttery at that point. And I think the 1 loop is enough with 1 drown. The amount of modules, I was originally going to have 4 modules, but I think I'm going to do 3. I think 3 is fine. I think 3 will produce way more. Now, ground level will be down here, right? And so you can see where you start to get to 4, and yeah, you can't really see what's going on at 4. One of the other things I'll do is out of range here, I'll have an observation tower, so folks can go at different levels of the observation tower and just sit here and watch it work. With new orientation of the loop, you can build 2 loops next to each other if needed. Yeah, and like I said, I was thinking about that. You probably already heard me saying, it gets a little cluttery at that point, though. But 1 loop then winds up being behind the other, and I could stagger the loops next to each other and stuff. There's all kinds of things I could do. But I think I'm going to stay with the 1 loop. I think I'm going to go with that. One thing I found is using the trapdoor for the bases, so you can see the iron golems from below. And I was going to try to build a structure around it. I may still do that, but I don't know. I'm thinking, because I've been challenging myself with that lately, not just to build the guts of the farm and make the farm run, but to build a structure around it and try to give it some lore and stuff and make it look like, an intentional structure, right? But this one, I don't know. I want to leave it open so you can see the workings of it. So I'm not sure I'm going to do that right away. Also, the collection chamber like this might change a little bit. I was thinking of having some sort of decorative structure down here. And, of course, here's where the collection point will be. There's an auto crafter inside of this that will craft them into blocks. I'm going to keep some of the ingots for trading. I'll keep at least one double chest of the poppies, but I won't have the bone meal, though, because we have the nearby mob farm between Nova's base and my base, and there's no real sense in making the bone meal over there. It's not necessary at all. So I'm going to omit that part. But yeah, this is what we're going to be building. It's hilarious. So, so we do have some supplies need to be gathered, but I'm going to do some stuff in Creative Test World here. Like, I'm going to dismantle this, flip it around, and get it to look like this. Once you have a double chest of poppies, there is no real harm in bone mealing. There isn't, but it's not really necessary either. I have so much bone meal now. So any overflow, I'll just incinerate. I was thinking of transporting the ingots over to the trade hall, but I don't know. I think I could just bring them over there manually. It'll be fine. In the Season 5 community iron farm, I did bone meal all of the poppies. And in that instance, it turned out to be handy. Not because we didn't have a mob farm or anything. It's just on site, it turned out to be productive and practical to have one on site at the iron farm. So I did that there. This one here, I won't be doing that. So I'll just have an overflow and it just incinerates them. I love this thing. So I had a very productive interval of cognition during the months of mostly December and January. And that's where this thing came about and stuff, and most of it was worked out. The original idea, though, was actually goes back to Season 4. Season 4, I built an enormous hand entirely out of iron blocks. And so I needed a heck of a lot of iron. And so I didn't really know too much about iron farms back then. I had like one model that I used. I think Waddles made that original model, and it was just a variation of his. But I really needed so much more than that thing could put out. And so I sat down and I taught myself iron farms. And so I made a horizontal style 3-module iron farm for that one. But while I was building that, this kind of very silly idea came to me. Yeah, see? One of these guys got changed into a zombie. This kind of configuration will prevent that from happening. But it's always this module. It never happens down here, and I don't know why. It's the same configuration and everything. So I don't know why. But so I got the idea for this way back in Season 4. And I've been meaning to build it, and I was thinking maybe I should build it on Generations. Maybe I should build it on Buffooncraft. I don't know. I think it is the trapdoors. Oh, it definitely is the trapdoors. It's, in fact, It's this little corner right here. They get into that corner, and they get too close to the dude, and then it hits them. But if I extend another trapdoor out to here, the villagers then get in each other's way, and they can't access their beds. And so it affects their sleeping. One of the things I could do if I wanted to for that kind of thing would be to have this kind of bed configuration, which is popular for iron farms. You can just float this out in space like this. And you would have seen this in the Season 5 iron farm like this. When they stand up, when they wake up, all three of them are on this block. They have no other place to go. And then at night, all three of them go back into their bed. But one of the things I wanted to do with this farm is I wanted these to look like little houses, little structures. Again, I was thinking structure-wise, and so I wanted this kind of setup. One of the other things I could do with the beds here is to do this kind of a thing, like that, and set them up like this. But now I've compounded my problem. Now I have it's this area here it's a little too hard for them to get to, right? If I do something like that, right? Just passing, they get in each other's way, and traffic jam, and they can't get to their beds. So by flipping this in this axis, you guys can see how it solves that problem. Right, it gives up to 2 blocks for them to move by. That way they can move past each other. Everybody can still see the drown when he drops down through there. And you can see as long as their head isn't obstructed by the blocks on either side, they'll be fine. They'll still wake up. So that's what we want to build that today, and we want to make sure that that's working 100%. Lone Star, hey, welcome on in. What if you just rotate the middle bed? Yeah, I could do that. You're not wrong. But I like to have the middle bed here because the center of the, quote, village for the farm is centered on the bed that the first villager claims. And so by having the center of the farm here and the bed in this orientation, it just makes a very convenient block around which I can measure everything else, right? So I do like to have this bed in this kind of configuration. So, but this solves things perfectly and allows this to be in the other plane. And it's like kills 2 birds with 1 stone. So it does its thing. And it gives these guys a little bit more room to move around, which, you know, their antics while they're fleeing from the dude is funnier and stuff. So Banhammer. But yeah, there's so many little nuances of requirements for these farms to work. It's like, you know, every little thing affects every other little thing in this farm. And some of these things have changed since I've designed this, right? Some of the behavior of the spawning and stuff has changed. I think I've accounted for everything, but I don't know. I actually went as far as to plan this out. Now I want to make a silly farm. Dude, there is nothing I would love to see more than that. And I think moving away from building things for their ultimate efficiency to making things fun and ridiculous. I think that's, you start to mature as a Minecrafter, or I don't know, become less mature when you go that. I think it was in Hermitcraft Season 7, I think, where Tango Tech started to move away from building those hyper efficient farms and just started to build like the silliest farms ever. And it took me a little bit longer than it took him, but just seeing him starting to go that route and deciding, and of course having, you know, at the time both of my sons were fairly young, you know, and having them just makes you want to do sillier things to make them laugh, right? And I think that's more of what it's about nowadays, right? Is just making things more fun, right? It's harder to do though, but just you know, seeing him make sillier things makes me want to make sillier things. So I'm right there with you, Sage. You know, I think it's like I could have made this a little quicker by capping this off, but you guys will see when he comes up here and he's like hurled into the air and comes out. It's just so cartoonish to like that. It's just like the Bugs Bunny cartoons and stuff, or you know, when they go and they have the gravity defying pause at the top of the arc before they come down. It's just you can almost hear the flute noise in your head when it's just awesome. So let me see. Let me pull this up next. Here we go. Well, I know. It depends. I know that it's parabolic, and it's at the maximum of that parabolic trajectory. Coyote time, yes. See, that's why I didn't answer right away with the math or the physics, because I'm like, Sage is going to Sage is going to have some kind of cool moniker for this. Just wait for it. It's actually a design thing in video games. Yeah. You know, I went to, when I was at university getting my degree, our physics professor sent us to a seminar over at a neighboring college. And the seminar was held by game developers. And I think they were the game developers for the game Crash Bandicoot. And the premise of the seminar was that making the decision of how much real-world physics and how accurate you want the physics in your game to be. And the conclusion is not accurate. Right? If you make it 100% accurate, the game is just so hard to play, and it's not fun at all. However, if you stray too far away from physics, it's also not fun, right? And so their seminar was on how they went about the decision process and the trial and error process of trying to dial in just the right amount of real world physics, right? And it was a very cool seminar, and I never forgot that. And so, you know, as Kachi's building his games and stuff, I try to advise him on that, right? This is a game design thing in platforming games to give people a tiny chance to jump when they technically should already be falling. Yeah. It's like when people play XCOM and the human notion of probability has nothing to do with actual probability. Yeah. Right? And it's all about making the game playable and enjoyable to play, right? So in our brain, 95% chance means basically always. Yeah. Yeah, and you know, that's an excellent point to make. When pursuing my master degree, stats wasn't really my main thing. But I did learn a lot of things like that from my stats class. Yeah. Folks get very frustrated when a 1 in 20 shots missed. Yeah. Yep. Okay, I was pulling this up here before I went on my physics, stats, and math rant. Let me show you guys this. And let me zoom on into this, and I'll switch displays in a moment. Let me see. Let me turn off the grid first. And let's switch over displays. I think it's display 2. There we go. Okay, so this is a program you've seen me use in Season 4, likely, called Affinity Designer. It's an illustration program, right? And it's super cool. It's basically the more affordable version of Adobe Illustrator. So what I did is I just took all the Iron Farm parameters and sort of mapped them out in the XY plane because I'm building a vertical farm. So you guys can see the translucent magenta block is the villager detection zone. So inside this magenta block, they can detect an iron golem, right? The orange zone is the spawning zone, right? This is where an iron golem can spawn. So you can see that's why we have slabs up here. Let me zoom in on that a little bit better. You can see that's why we have slabs up here, right? So they don't spawn up there. The trap doors allow them to spawn here, except under that overhang, right? But this redstone lamp, technically they can spawn on redstone lamps, but I put a button there just to make sure, but you can see it's just outside the spawn zone. The only other place is this stone here, the smooth stone block. So I have a button on that, and it should be fine. Here's ground level, so it's 1 block above that, just to be safe. But they should be fine, right? And so you can see they spawn right up here. They get pushed off the edge down here, and then it eats them right outside this zone. And the upper modules yeet them right outside that zone, and then they drop straight down. So pretty much the x-coordinate of that polynomial there is really short. Well, it's really short, but the catapult actually catapults them horizontally quite far, over 8 blocks, and it also catapults them up a little bit. So the maximum of their trajectory horizontally is right about here, right? So so you can see that's why I have the beds here, and it makes the central village block right about there. Let me turn on the grid. So I project over it a block. This represents 1 block in Minecraft, right? And the red presents 16 blocks, a chunk, right? Width-wise anyway, right? And so you can see this thing will chuck it over 8 blocks horizontally before it starts to drop. It's really incredible. But you can see now why I chose to orientate the beds I did. You know, it lines things up the way it needs to be lined up in order to keep things out of these zones and within those zones and stuff like that. So it's easier just to map things out like this first, right, and to plan things ahead a little bit like this. You can see the spawn zones or the detection zones for each module are allowed to overlap each other a bit, because this will, when the Iron Golem spawns, he can't really spawn anywhere else other than here. And this is far enough away from that zone where he'll never enter that zone. If I lower this one down, and again, when he gets yeeted off by the catapult, he doesn't really go any higher than this block here. So you're thinking, well, maybe I could lower this zone down, but lowering this zone down has the effect of raising that zone up, and we'll start to get into the catapult zone. So this is about the max here. So that's the idea behind that, right? And so I just took the time to map things all out ahead of time. And there's still a little bit about iron farms that I don't really... I still have questions. I still have questions. But I think I know enough about them now where I can build something like this. And in the month of November, when I was in my slump, I did invite Nova in here to have a look at this thing so we could do a little, and I'm very grateful he actually took the time to log in and have a look at it, because his availability is extremely low. So, wow, these guys did each other in. Somehow they died. I have no idea how. But yeah, and we brainstormed a little bit on it. I brought him in to discuss the portal idea with him because I was concerned about that the portals would actually function as a chunk loader at the same time. And because the iron golems going through here constantly will keep the chunk loaded, right? Because they're going into the nether. And the impact that'll have on the server performance and stuff. And we thought it would be okay in the end. So he green-lighted me for that. But then I came up with this. After he logged off, I came up with this, and I like this better. This is sillier. So it would run better with the portals, though. And then recently, I saw a YouTube video where the builder didn't have the water stream or the spawn platform. What this builder did was had individual trap doors set up in an array, and with the string above the trap door, and the iron golem will spawn on the trap door. It detects it, opens the trap door, and they fall directly down. And that was a very cool design. It's like the most efficient way you could design this kind of farm, right? But I kept mine the way it was because I like this mechanic. I like the way it looks and stuff. It's a little bit sillier like this, right? But that trapdoor thing was really cool. And it did give me the idea to replace these with the trapdoors so you can see from the bottom, right? So it just makes watching the farm more fun and easier to troubleshoot. So, okay. Let's do this. There we go. All right, let's first turn off the FAM. We need to end the cycle of terror. There he is. Okay, so he dropped down, and he's parked in his little spot now, right? And this is cool. This allows me to shut off the farm when I need to, because it doesn't need to run all the time. Then I'll just flick that on again. It powers the rails, and up he goes, right? So, that being said, first thing we have to do is get rid of the water. Now, I only have this, the ascending chute and the descending chute separated by one block. I think I'm going to separate it by 2 blocks. I might. The idea was, this is weird because honey block alignment functions very weirdly here. Because this is technically less than 1 block, when it shoots and hits into that honey block, if I go and put a block underneath this like this, it'll catch on the lip of that block and stop. And so by turning this 90 degrees this way and having them come up here and come across and shoot here, I would need the honey blocks. I would need the honey blocks here, and that would block them from seeing them. So I can't do that, right? And so that's why I have him come up through here, shoot across, come across, and then down like that. So, oh yeah, there's so many weird things about these kinds of mechanics. That's why you can't really build this as like, well, I don't know, maybe you guys can because you build faster than me. But like this could never be like the community farm for the server. You just need a farm that works right away, right from day one, and you can build it in like less than an hour. So, you know, the other buffoons can get their iron immediately. You can't like build this at the beginning of the season. You can't. There's just so many little details like that. And I suppose once you get the build designed, you can save it. I mean, that's the point of my test world here, is to save these designs so I can go back and reference them. But, you know, I'm not sure I really want to build the same kind of iron farm every single season, right? So if I just need a generic iron farm blueprint, you know, I'll just build the one that Nevs and Shut built, or just let them build it because they're faster, right? So, all right, first things first, let's grab some dirt and let's let's dispense of the water stream. Because that's going to cause the most trouble. And we can remove the soul sand block because that's causing a lot of problems right away. There we go. Let's drop down from a boof. And then there's some modifications we need to make of things here, there, and everywhere, but we're in creative mode, so we can do things like this, and we can... There we go. Okay, now we can bust out some of this stuff. Good. I think I can remove that. Yeah, he's safe. If not, I can just spawn another one, but... So I'm going to try it with the one block separating the two chutes first. This is cool that these guys died, though. That means I don't have to go and fix that. I don't have to I don't have to kill them to respawn new ones. They're already dead. Now I could just do this with a fill command, but I also want to be really careful here. So I'm just going to knock these out by hand. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be totally fine. This is going to have to be rearranged as well. Let's do that just to be safe. My original plan was to have this already finished in the creative test world first, and then we could log on today and build it in stream, but I got behind on a lot of things, and I didn't want to rush it and stuff, so we could just do this for the stream today. See how far along we get with the redesign. Actually, that's going to be moved out by a block, so we can do that. Let's take this down. all of this out. Being very careful for our little friend here, who has just been living his best life, scaring the bejesus out of those villagers. All right, let's do this. You know, I say I want to do this by hand and not use the fill command. But then, you know, there is the constant, relentless sound of breaking glass. So, which is, yeah, kind of stressful. Okay, my weird Iron Farms clock seems to work. All right, I think. And again, you know, I don't really need this iron farm. The one at Skipton certainly works well enough. But I'm using the iron to supplement the trades, and so I do need the iron for that. I should be careful with this. Let's temporarily put this stuff, because these guys will fall out. I mean, we can always spawn them again. It's not a big deal, but... yeah, there's no guys in there, so we should be all set. Okay, I think we're cool here. All right, let's update these two modules first. This one doesn't have any dudes in it, so that would be the easier of the two. We'll bring that out like that. I think I was doing something like this. Like that. We'll fly around there. We'll fly around there. And again, you guys can see where now this gives them 2 blocks space so they can get past each other. And now we can do this, so this will keep them away from, sufficiently away from the drowned, where they will not get converted. Okay, it doesn't like work, but it's not. But in not working, it gets weirder. So I guess that is when. Okay. Let's see what I'm doing here. All right. I originally had this at 4 honey blocks. I reduced it to 2, but then I increased it back to 4. With 2, it seemed to be working fine. Like 2 was was a sufficient amount to slow it down enough for these guys. But then for some reason, I don't know. It might be a game tick server lag kind of thing, but he was going past this too fast, and these guys were not all waking up each time. So I set it back to 4 blocks. That slows them down, and then these guys wake up every time. So it looks like 4 blocks is the minimum. Okay, and that looks like 1 complete module. All right, now this is a little weird. No hands, not that. Please. There we go. What we need to do here is allow the first villager to claim that bed, just to make certain that the center of the farm is there. I mean, if the center of the farm moves over by a block this way for one of the other beds or that way, it's not that big of a deal, but just you know, being assured that this is always the center. If I go to change something or I'm troubleshooting something, I know that that's where the center is. All right, let's get a villager egg right there. We do this. And then we do time set night so he'll sleep. There. So once that bed is claimed, then you can go assign the other beds and mail 1D. It's no problem. Like this. We can put this dude here to claim his bed, that dude there to claim his bed, and then we should be all set. There. Okay. It's little details like that that tweak things and make things work or not work depending on how successful you are in setting them up. These guys are already set. Okay. So you can see these guys are close enough to see our buddy when he comes down here. But because the corners aren't open, he should be far enough away where the drone can't reach them. So should be good. Now, this clear glass block is a little obnoxious. I might use I might actually go with the tinted glass when I build it on the server. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And now that I put in the villagers, it doesn't work anymore, of course. Welcome to my world, buddy. Sage, you're just going to have to, like, spam configurations, you know, and watch and observe. Watching and observing is like so critical. And, you know, just reading up on the parameters and then watching and observing and then just trying to make the connections so you can realize what's going on, you know. And, you know, if you happen to be like me, hopefully not, where I don't really have any kind of talent in this, I have skill. That means I have to try things like every possible wrong way until the only option left open is the right way to do it. I mean, I still get there and it's cool, but the requirement is the time, right? That's why this can't be like a community farm. There's just no time for that, right? So let's see. Let's extend this down and we'll put these ones in place. What am I doing there? Okay, I'm replacing that block. But what am I doing above? Same thing, I think. Yeah, okay. So this is doing that kind of a thing. This remains open. And then we... hands, please. There we go. Continue it down like this. Now, that can't extend there. We got... Oh! Are these not aligned? Oh, dear. Baba? Did I not? Oh, yeah, okay. I just didn't update this one yet. Okay, good. Whew. Good Lord. Okay. It's going to be okay, folks. Everything's going to be fine. Sir, please, if you could just... Look at this. I'm going to stand right here so I can fall to my death. Villagers, he's not even wearing a green tunic. What's with that? Let me see. We can do that and that. Okay. And honey blocks will go right down the side here. Oh, I know what is wrong, but it is an atypical setup, so I have atypical problems. Yep. There you go, man. Like this, for example, I might be able to get away with keeping those blocks there. Yeah, I can. Okay. See, so what we can't do at this point is to do something like that. Above it's not a problem, but below it is. Again, this looks like it's flush, but it's actually not. So you can't have any... You can't mix the blocks like that on with the honey structure like that. That'll ruin your whole day. Trust me. Voice of experience there. Okay, I'm going to only extend it down that far for right now. Now, see, again, you don't want to have a structure like this on the honey block side. The honey block side you want to leave open. But just for safety's sake, see, I would love to leave this side open because that's the front of the farm. But, I don't know, you can see him through the glass. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So you got to think of, like, visibility, too, because the whole thing is to watch this thing run. And so that will also dictate a lot of your design choices. Like there may be some design feature that may be somewhat less optimal or whatnot, but you opt for it because you want the look, right? You want it to function in the silly way, right? So silliness takes the priority. By the way, Kachi and my older son, Biggie, I showed this to him, and they were laughing their butts off. So I know this is the way to go. If I can make Kachi laugh, then it's Kachi approved. Okay, so yeah, here we go. And let's put in this last part of the structure here. Okay, so he's going to drop down here, and then he's going to rise up through there. Now, one of the things I wanted to do, too, is... now, this is ground level, but I can decrease the time of the loop a little bit by bringing this whole structure up to this level. Now, I don't think I'm going to bring it exactly up to that level. I need a little bit of room, right? So this is going to take a little thought. I hadn't actually worked this part out yet. I do feel I don't want it this far down. I want to bring it up a little bit. I was thinking I could bring it right up to the same level as this, and this is where he would start. Right through here, go up to here. Probably not. Probably not. I'm going to bring him down a little bit. The zombie refuses to stay in the boat. Oh, you're using boats. And when he gets stuck between the water flows, it's because he keeps trying to walk against the stream to get to the villagers it cannot reach. Dude, boats are tough. It's one of the reasons why I went with the minecart, because the minecart can be controlled in the water streams better than boats can, believe it or not. I also considered having him not in the minecart at all and just have him on his own in the water stream. After all, he is drowned, right? And have the water stream just push him around. But it doesn't look as silly. He just looks sillier in the minecart. The zombie just doesn't want to stay in it. Oh, the boat works perfectly. He just wants, the boat does. The drown does, but not both. Okay. Let me see. Where am I at? I'm at the halfway point. I'm a little bit past noon, so I'm going to take a 3-minute break, run some ads, and then we will be right back. Okay, we're back. Sage, I'm really interested in seeing your design. I love this kind of stuff. We have a couple of options here that we can do now. And here's the drop chute. So the zombie will come down here through the drop chute. We could have him drop right here, go immediately here and into the upshoot. That would be a nice thing. I don't know if this is going to give me enough room to do that. Having the C shape here, or U shape, depending on your orientation, is a little better only because it gives the room for the mechanics and to shut the farm off, and if necessary, queue in another drown, right? I don't know. Maybe I can fit it in here just by extending these. We'll do something like that first. Here, go over here, and then into there. It depends on if I have enough room to make the entrance area. Those things are a little tricky to build. The cool thing is railroad tracks can function underwater. That's critical. One of the other things I have to make sure too is that none of these blocks are within the spawn zone for the iron golem. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, okay, so we're going to have to be extra careful. So you guys can see down here, right? We have the drop chute is actually right here. And then the ascension, or we'll call this the descension tube, and the ascension tube is right here. And you can see they're both within the spawn area for the iron golem. So potentially iron golems could spawn on there. Now, I don't think that iron golems can spawn on honey blocks. So I don't think I have to be concerned with that. They can't spawn on glass, so it should be okay there. They can't spawn on railroad tracks, so I think we should be all set there. All right, so you should drop down here, go into there, and then rise up through there. And you should be okay. Oh, we might not need that block there. Soul sand. That's what we need next. Right there. There we go. Okay. Right, so he'll drop down here, go across, and then back into there. Should do that. Good. Okay. Yeah, I think I might be able to do this. I might be able to get away with this. One of the things I like to do is to have the water stream. If you can do something like that. Something like this, and having the water flowing that way, it will suck them into the water stream. Yeah, but you have to. There's sometimes the game mechanic doesn't work quite like that. You have to have the water source here, flowing into there. It's kind of it's weird. Yeah, it's a pretty tight spot in here. This might give him enough force where he can drop and then be shot into here. Some of the problems, sometimes on their way into here, they'll start to rise up before they're sufficiently entirely inside the chute, and they'll get caught on this block here. So, yeah, sometimes that's a problem. It might not be this time, but we'll see. And there are ways around that too, right? But it usually requires making something like this. But I'm going to see if we can make that into a smaller area. Let's get some signs. In fact, I think... Now, I can't have anything there, but I think here is enough. And if I just... I can use the old unsightly sign thing. But, hey, it works, right? Oh, really? Did my hands just do that? Please. I tell you, I really miss the mouse that I had before. Now, I really just need a sign for that top one. The rail, I think, will keep the other water source in place. Let's try it out. Water. Yeah, that should be okay. I may extend the honey blocks right down to here, but what I'm hoping is that he doesn't drop here and then get hung up on this edge. I'm thinking not, but that might be a problem. That might be a problem. All right. So He should pop up through here, come down this way, hit the track score, and then drop down through there. That's the plan. We'll see how that works. I'm thinking this down here might be a little too tight, but let's try it out. So we'll build a little temporary ramp for him over here. We also have to be very, very careful. Make sure that he doesn't burn up in the sun. This should sufficiently protect him along with the protection above. I think we'll be okay there. The water stream will protect him there. This will protect him from above. I could do that just to make sure he's protected there. All right. Let's go up here. And now that I've reconfigured this a little bit, I'm going to need to extend this out. Let's... And you know, I don't have to go over quite this far, but just to make sure. Let's just do something like that, and I think we should be okay. That should all be all right. And then, you know, I'll extend this over. I may make it symmetrical. We'll see. All right, this should be okay. Let's... Okay, yeah. Let's do that for... All right, just for now. I think he's going to get hung up on this, but we'll see. This might be a problem initially. Let's do this just to make sure he's okay. Are you okay, Mr. Drown? No, that's not what I'm trying to do. You know, I forgot that you have to do that kind of a thing. Oh, we may have to come out even further than that. May have to do something like this. And this will have to come out to here, 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 here. There, there. Fuck. Maybe we can extend it that way? No, it's going to have to be this way. It's going to have to come out even further. All this just to get him in his little spot in the loop. Get him in the loop. Because you have this next, right? That means that has to come over there like that. I could just kill him and spawn another one there. All right, that functions. Thank you very much. Okay, that functions. All right, that'll do it. And I think he'll survive this trip. We'll see. If not, we'll just make another one. He'll be all right. Okay, good. That should power all of these. And that'll power those. And that'll power those. This will power these. Okay, this is going to be actually quite tricky to do. Let's try it out. There he goes. Now we do this. We do that. We do this. He goes. Comes on down the chute. Hopefully he survives. The moment of truth. There he goes. Okay, and it works. Great! Success! All right, let's clean this up and then we'll watch this thing in action. There he goes, right down the old honey block, right into there. And these three dudes are doing okay. Let's take a look around here. There are no surfaces on which those guys can spawn. Those guys being the iron golems. Let me see. I can do lamp like this. We have the lever like that. And just, you know, anywhere where I can put like any cool little feature. Like the lamp on tells us that this is on. Right, I mean, clearly it is. You can see it working. But I like little features like that. They're cool. All right. Now let's hang out in some of these modules and let's see what happens here. Okay, that's good. It looks like he has enough exposure. Okay, none of this is working, and I'm just making it more complicated to avoid the obvious boring solutions. I'm going to leave it for another time. I can't tell you how many times I've tweaked this and then like walked away from it and tweaked it more and walked away from it. Brought Nova in to look at it. All kinds of stuff. So okay, I think Okay, his motion through the loop seems to be very, very cool. I want to look at the top here just to make sure all of this is working well. I mean, it is. He's doing his thing, but let's watch him come shooting out of the top here. This needs to look very silly. So here he comes. Whew. Okay, this is a little too low, I think. I think I should go up one more level on this. Because he seems to be bumping his wee noggin on this. There he comes. Yeah, wow. Thought I had that. I may have raised it since then. I'm not sure. But we have to be careful here because he needs his protection from the sun. Because you know those drowns, they need like SPF 1 million sunblock to or just some tinted glass. All right. Whoa, his head just barely touches the top of that. That's cool. Doink. All right. And he does the little extra bounce right there and then comes on down. All right, that's cool. All right, all three of those dudes are all right. See, like, technically I could close in these on the sides now here because they really only need to see in the front, but I don't know. I kind of like having it open. I like the openness. It's an open concept. One thing we should do before we hit the night switch and let these guys do their thing is to put the water in here. So let's do that. And then we'll bring on the night. Thusly. Oh, and this doesn't have an ejection system. This third one. We need that. Luckily, those things are pretty quick to build. Let's add one of those right to here. So first components of this. Are the redstone lamps there and there. Let's head on over to here. We'll do this. Let's get the most important component. Okay, we have that, 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 and this. We need this. Let's load these up. We have this. Oops, I triggered it. Let me see. We have that. We have the string. Let's do that. I'm going to need some redstone dust. Like that. I'm going to need a repeater. And a button. And the button is just to reduce the spawn. To prevent the spawns, right? So we go over to here like this. We do that. Repeater goes right there. Redstone dust. Like this. Oh, we need an observer. There we go. We need that and that. And then we need the string. Done and done. And I think we're all set to go. We have our 3 modules in place. This is the funniest when you get right about here. Here he goes. Right up to the top. He goes over, comes down, does his drop all the way down to the bottom, and does it all over again. And again, the thing here is, if we want to shut off the farm, we just flick the switch. These are not powered. He drops down and he just stays right there. All right, let's go to midnight. And let's observe, because that's how you get this farm to work. Okay, all 3 dudes jump up. That's good. They go back to sleep. And you want to see all 3 of them wake. That's the important part. Right, all 3 of them are waking up. That's good. So they should spawn an iron golem pretty soon. Should. There he goes. Okay, that module's working fine. They're all back to sleep. He got yeeted out. All right. Now see, this guy isn't going back to sleep. That's not a good sign. We may have to reset the beds. Let's see what happens. See, these guys aren't going back to sleep. All right, there they go. All right, so something's messing up with their pathing. It might be the glass blocks. I'm hoping not, though, because I like to be able to see them from below. But here he comes again. All 3 of them are awake. All 3 are asleep. I think the next time around, they should spawn a golem. Oh, that guy got stuck on his block. Okay, they spawned a golem there. So what happened here? He didn't trigger... Oh, wait a minute. What happened there? He didn't trigger his... Why is it not working? Oh, is this upside down? Why is it permanently on? Is it because of him? Let's change its state. There. Now we're under a little pressure to have this set up before the next one spawns. All right, now we should be okay. Yeah, I think I had the observer upside down. I should have known when it was stuck in the on state. goes. I think one more should do it. Takes him about maybe 3 turns at the loop. 3 loops to spawn the Iron Golem. Oh, maybe a little more because we were messing around with that. Yeah, because he was staying in the zone longer. So maybe it set the timing off a little bit. Let's have with that golem, boys. There he is. Okay, now he should come over to the edge. Oh, he missed. What is going on with this? Right? Oh, 1 tick delay. The timing for this drop and that catapult is so critical. That's why it's shaped the way it is. That's why it's placed where it is. And that's why that repeater is on a 1 tick delay. Getting that timing down was super hard to do. I'll go take care of that dude in a minute. I just want to see these guys spawn another golem and make sure this works. Well, that one certainly works. Excuse me. Let's bring this over. All right, they're not ready to spawn one. Oh, that guy spawned down there. What happened there? All right, let's find out. That means he's going to remain, those 2 dudes are going to remain in the detection zone of this module. So we're going to have to execute those guys pretty soon. But I'm just looking at this one. I want to see this one work. Make a golem, boys. You know you can do it. You can do it. Come on, make me a golem. There they go. Okay, and then this guy should get yeeted off of there. Right on target. Good. All right. I don't know what happened to these guys. Are these 2 from that one when I didn't have it adjusted correctly? Probably. Well, I think we can take care of this guy this way. Yeah, okay. That takes care of that dude. That guy will drop off of there. We'll go take him out with some lava. I expect to see some flashing lights up above. And I'm not. So I'm wondering what's going on. Wow, dude, you're tough. There we go. Okay. So what's not happening here, guys? Okay, he's coming on down the chute. Okay, there's that guy. Boom. Out he goes. Okay, that's good. Okay, he just scared those guys. Okay, they made their iron golem. That's good. Come back on up for the return trip. These guys are out of sync with the other two because of, you know, building this and making the tweaks and stuff. So. But I think I'm going to put the stopwatch on this, and I'm going to see how much, what the time is for the cycle. I think I've reduced it significantly. Taters! Hey, really good to see you, man. How are you doing over there? Okay, these guys have missed their... How is it hanging? With a moment of inertia right about there. That's okay, there they go. And down into the liquidator. Doing good. I just got back from a long day at the horses. It's one whole patat. How am I doing here? I have 8 minutes left of the stream. Which is really cool because I was hoping to get that detail ironed out. Aw, yeah, sorry. You might have missed a notification or... Well, you just got back from your... Ironed out. Yes, nice. Had a really good writing session on my boy. Taters, I may have told you that when I was a lad, we had horses. My mom loved horses. And we owned 3 of them and 1 pony for quite some time. Oh, you have not told me. Well, now you know. That was back when I lived in New Hampshire. Where I'm living in California now, there's still quite a bit of equestrian culture here, because this is the area where a lot of the old westerns, the TV shows, Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and stuff were all filmed in this area in Southern California. So there's a lot of that legacy stuff still around. And a number of the townships around this area along the sides of the roads have the equestrian trails right next to the road and the sidewalk, right? And so they're designated for horseback riding. And so people around town you'll see. And then we have a ranch in the center of town here, an equestrian center where you can go take lessons and you can do this and do that and everything. The more you know. Yeah. In fact, there's a town not too far away from us, San Dimas, and that's all of that stuff. That's Roy Rogers, Gene Autry, Lone Ranger, all of that stuff. You go to San Dimas, and San Dimas is like, it's still, a lot of it is still the architecture and stuff and street designs that are all the Old West. There's a lot of restaurants with Old West themes and stuff like that. So, yeah, San Dimas is still carrying those themes. It's really cool. That's not too far away from where we're at. I was thinking now that I'm older and I've lost a lot of flexibility in my legs and my hips that I should probably do the horseback riding at the ranch in the town and just see if I can do like a couple hours each day. But man, I don't know if my back can take that anymore because I'm so old, you know. So I don't know if my back can handle that. Okay, I think we have this thing running. This thing is running as designed. And I like the way that this is working. I like the pace of it. There's one thing that we need to do. One final thing. Let's put the stopwatch on the loop. Well, let's do this. Let me see. Let's do clock. Okay. All set to go. Just wait for him to drop. Right there. I think we may have trimmed off a few seconds for it. It was formally 16 seconds, but I don't think we've trimmed much off of it. It's probably like maybe 14 or 13 seconds now. It's actually even longer. It's now 18 seconds. Oh, but that makes sense though. That actually makes sense because we, before the loop ended here, and we had like the makings of the module up here, but we have the loop here. Right, so the loop is now for 3. So 18 seconds is actually very, very good for 3 modules. The cycle that these guys go through for spawning iron golems is every 30 seconds. So as long as it's 30 seconds or less, you're doing all right. Can always give it a try. Regarding the horseback riding, yeah, except if it does mess up my back, then I'm partially paralyzed for several weeks until I heal. So I still be able to. It's not just like, oh, my back's a little sore. No, I'll be like immobilized for a few weeks. Yeah, I can't afford that right now. I might still give it a try though. I might still. Yeah, it sucks getting old. It's just that motion, you know. I know enough to know how to post with the legs on the sides so you're not slamming up and down on the saddle, right? You go with the flow of the horse. I still remember enough of that from when I was a kid. But my ability to do that now with the shape I'm in, I don't think I'll... So there will be this kind of action of my spinal discs. And that's gonna hurt. You know what else does that actually is those trampoline parks. I used to take Kachi and Biggie to those, and I used to go in there with them. But bouncing on the trampoline actually has that same kind of action, believe it or not. I didn't think it would until afterwards I was like paralyzed on the ride home, and I'm like, why am I? Then I thought about it. Oh yeah, okay. The compression when you go down and bounce up, and it decompresses and then instantly compresses and decompresses your spine again. Yeah, that was bad. All right, I think this thing is now, it is 1 o'clock. It is time to end the stream. And I think the whole lava level will be moved up to here, so we won't be getting this kind of thing. I think this thing is ready to build on Buffooncraft. And the cool thing about this is we know the resources we need. We'll be gathering the resources. The site has been all prepared. And it's all set to go. I'll start working on it this week off camera. It may be finished by next Buffooncraft stream next Friday, depending on how my week goes. But if not, we'll be doing that on stream, finishing up, and then preparing for the main event, which is the main build. And that's going to be completely insane. If I can get it to work, it's going to be the craziest, coolest thing I've ever built in Minecraft. All right. With that being said, let's see if there's anybody to whom we can raid out. I think OPG might still be streaming right now. You know, I am going to stream out to my good friend Cyclopsolops. Yes, I see both of them. Yeah. I have rated out to each of them. I rate out to Genie a lot. Our schedules just line up. And let me see, Skip's still doing Avowed. But Psych is doing Minecraft right now, and I haven't seen him. I haven't rated to him in quite some time. So I think I'm going to go with Cyclopsolops today. Also a good choice. All right, let us log out of here for the moment. Let's switch over to the cam scene. Done and done. There, viewers, chat, you can see the chat message, the raid message in the chat. You can copy and paste that into the chat if you would like to join us along on the raids. I always encourage the viewers to join us along on these raids. Even if you can't stay for the entire stream, if you could just drop in, say hi, and if you feel so inclined, maybe a follow, some bits, a sub would be really, really cool. Let's set up the raid itself. And there, the raid is counting down for Cyclopsolops, co-streamer, good friend. We've collaborated on a number of things with he and Pleasant Player. Family-friendly viewers, just know that even though it's not rated mature, sometimes there's some mature language because, you know, they're younger folks, and so they use the language, right? So you could expect that, but they are super, super cool. All right. Just remember that we do this Buffooncraft stream every Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Our next stream should be Sunday. It should be Kachi time, but we'll see. Kachi has a recital to do on Saturday. It should leave Sunday open, but we'll see how we're doing with that. That should be 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The stream after that will be Wednesday. That'll be Generations from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we should be in the Baby Zombie Rush beta test world for that. Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. We got a really good turnout today, and it was a lot of fun. And we'll see you all again next time, raiding out to Psych now. Bye for now, everyone.